Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy,
I'm Kelly.
and we are talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, season 18, episode number 8. And we start out with Heather, Emily, and Tamra. They meet up to discuss kind of the trip, but really it turns into Tamra inviting them to the party and letting them know that Alexis is not going to be invited, the party that she's having at her house, which is the Traitors party.
Yes, if I learned anything from this episode, it's that I have absolutely zero interest in that show, Traitors.
I agree,
That was
100%.
boring, hard to watch,
100%.
and I knew Heather was the traitor the whole time.
Yeah, it was. All those things you just said, I 100% agree with. I don't know why people like it so much.
I don't know. I mean, maybe there's more to it than what we saw, but from what I saw,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. So then we also see Shannon. She's going to get the breathalyzer installed in her car. And I thought it was interesting that the options for her for driving were to have her license suspended for 6 months, or she could have the breathalyzer installed and drive now. But she went on to say she hasn't driven for 6 months. So she could have just had her license suspended anyway.
I thought the same thing. I was confused. But then I thought maybe she lost her license for 6 months right away.
Right.
And then the next option was you can go another 6 months without your license, or you can have a breathalyzer installed in your car.
Okay, that would make sense.
That's what I'm thinking. I could totally be wrong because I was confused just as you were.
Yeah. Yeah. That would make more sense.
I mean, I think whenever you get a DUI, you have to lose your license for a certain amount of time. I thought first-time offenders were 3 months, but maybe that's New Jersey and this is California.
Oh, it's a year in New Jersey.
Is it?
Yeah, first-time offenders is a year in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
And I think second time, if I'm not mistaken, and I haven't read up on it recently, I think second time is 3 years and third time is 10 years.
That I knew. I knew third time was 10 years. And then if it happens again, then you just never get your license back, I think.
Oh, so she goes and she's having this installed in her car. And she also wants it as a reminder to her about the stupid mistake that she made, because she's owning her mistake, and she wants to move forward from it.
Interesting, because it's like, why doesn't every car just have that? Wouldn't that eliminate drunk driving?
Not when you saw how difficult it was.
No, and honestly, you could have somebody else do it for you and then get behind the wheel anyway. So I guess it...
Not really, because you have to keep blowing it at anywhere from every 5 to 20 minutes while you're driving. Yeah, that's what he said. While you're driving, it'll alert you anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh gosh. I mean, she had a hard enough time sitting there in the parking lot trying to get it right. I can't imagine her getting the alert while she's driving.
Were you trying to do it as she was trying to do it?
I wasn't. Were you?
I was. I was watching her do it, and I was trying to do it along with her. And it doesn't sound very easy.
No, it doesn't sound
like
easy.
Hum and blow out at the same time.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound easy. And then we see, she also talks about how her business has suffered since the DUI. Her Real for Real. I didn't know that she had a business called Real for Real, and it's like a health and wellness business.
Well, she had those meals. Remember?
Right,
those
I remember.
Prepared meals. So is this like a spinoff of that?
It may or may not be. I don't know, but it looked like it was more of like either supplement or something else. Because I do remember at one time she had like that lemon drink or something.
Yeah.
So whatever it was
the tinctures.
The tinctures. Yeah. Right. So whatever it was promoting a healthy lifestyle. And first of all, she felt hypocritical. She wanted to take her name off of it, which good for her,
Yeah.
Good for her. But she's trying to rebuild herself, and I give her a lot of credit.
It's hard to promote something when you're going through that. Because like even because I was thinking about this as I was watching, even when we started doing the podcast last year, something happened in my family and I was like, I can't just start posting on social media about this. Like I just felt that I didn't want people to think that I was minimizing what had gone on.
Right.
By promoting something that I was doing. So
right. Right. And imagine if you're imagine if you're in the public eye.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with her for how she handled it.
Right.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is she got so much slack for the Tres Amigas.
Yeah.
So, like, why did she think that the Tres Amigas was okay? I guess maybe because it's entertainment and
And
they
it was a
took,
job and she was getting paid and she needs the money.
and she already had commitments. The tickets were already sold, and they did change the show to take out the drinking song and the drinking part of it.
Right.
So, she still could do the show.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that, like that wasn't brought up, when she's talking about her real for real business and, her and Vicky are talking about the show.
Right.
Like it would have been a good opportunity for her to kind of explain her side of it,
Yeah. Address that.
Yeah. Then we see Jenn is doing yoga with Katie, and they're talking about how Katie's doing with the whole Heather situation.
Katie likes to talk about how hot she thinks her husband is, doesn't she?
Yeah. And it's interesting that every single time we hear these one-on-ones with Katie, we find out like new and interesting information.
I think she's saying a little too much about her ex-husband, though, and his relationship with her kids. I just feel like that's going to backfire on her. And quite honestly, he didn't sign up for the show, and neither did her kids who aren't on the show. So I don't feel like she should be talking about them because she's talking about them so negatively.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be hard. It kind of goes back to what happened with Tamra and her daughter who doesn't talk to
Exactly.
her,
Right.
And
You're definitely not going to get any closer with these kids that don't live with you if you
right,
keep doing this.
right, exactly. Exactly. And I think it's interesting that her daughter is actually going so far as to changing her last name, like having to go to court and actually changing her last name. Like that's, it reminds me of everything that's going on with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie
Yeah.
with his kids.
Do you wonder if maybe maybe her ex-husband said, I don't want my kids filming. And her daughter really wants to film. And that's why her daughter's doing this?
I don't think so. I
But
don't
why
think so.
wouldn't she have done it already?
Well, I think she just became of age. She's not that old. Her daughter's
So
not that
she's
old.
18, so she's making this decision for herself?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay, so
yes.
he doesn't have to sign off on it.
Right, right. No. She's
Okay.
of age where she's making this decision herself.
Got it.
She's graduated, and that's what kind of she's talking about with her daughter is that Tamra's daughter is also just graduated, and now
Right.
she's able to be on camera because Simon wouldn't allow her to be on camera, and that they have a lot in common. So she has made this decision herself. That's why we're seeing it. But I agree with you. Like,
That's wild that Tamra's daughter's lived with her this whole time and just has never filmed because Simon and I get it.
right.
He didn't want her to, and he's her father and he has every right. It's just wild to me that she's been living there this whole time. Did you catch where Tamra said that Simon has 2 kids that don't talk to him?
Yes. Yes.
So I guess it's Sophia who lives with her and Spencer, the son, because the Sydney lives with him.
Yes, it must be because
Unless she's
I
talking
think,
about Ryan, but that's
but
not his kid.
I think Ryan has a very bad relationship with Tamara right now.
Really?
I think so. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm not sure, but I know, listen, Tamara is very self-centered and it's all about her. And, I think that is evident to her kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I have it written down somewhere, but I like that Sophia will say, I'm not talking about my father. I'm not talking about my sister. I'm not
Right.
I like that she does that
Right.
because Tamara relentlessly tries to talk about them. Oh,
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, even so much as last week when we were talking about the recap and Jenn was crying about what was going on with her kids and how they had this this relationship with their father, and she saw them on social media because Shannon pointed it out to her, or Tamra pointed it out to her,
mm-hmm.
and then Tamra brought up her daughter that she doesn't have a relationship with. Again, she's always trying to put her stuff out there any way she can, like feel sorry for me,
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
What else? So then Emily and Shane, I guess they were getting the spray. Why were Emily and Shane getting the spray tan? Was it for the Traitors party? I mean, she
think
had
that Emily
tights on.
just gets spray tan. Emily probably has somebody come spray tan her once a week.
Okay.
And then, Shane just got involved because and I thought that was hysterical. When she was like, here, let me do your bald spot. So it matches.
It was hysterical.
That was great. That was great.
I love them together. I really do like them together.
They're great.
And she has that conversation with him about, how she's, done some soul searching and how she was speaking to Jenn and, how Gina called her out for being a mean girl and why she's so tough. And you could see she was being very vulnerable. I mean, she was, really realizing where it came from. And it came from her upbringing and how she was raised. And she had to be tough.
She had it rough, man. I mean, aside from physical abuse, which obviously I don't think there was any of that, but she had no parental guidance whatsoever. I don't think her father was in the picture at all at this point when, she's talking about when she's getting herself up and ready for school, no lunch, no breakfast, no nothing. Like her mom, I guess, was physically there, but absent otherwise. Listen, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that live that way. We were very blessed that we did not. And our children are even luckier because,
Right.
everything we do for them. But that's rough. And I think she's just trying to be the best mom she can be. And I thought that was so sad when she said to Shane, like, do you think I'm a good mom? Like, she just can't, she needs that.
Reassurance.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I agree. We see later when she does get to see Jenn that she, pulls her aside and apologizes to her.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I think Jenn, posed a good question to her. Is it really about like you take more, you have more value to money? And she's like, no, actually, that's not the case. But that's how Jenn was taking it because that's what she was attacking. And it was more so that Emily was saying, how can you not know what's going on? How can you have been like your head in the sand for so long? Because Emily has been so independent her whole life that she just can't imagine. Yeah, okay, Shane's family is very wealthy. But besides that, she became an attorney on her own,
For sure. I think, I don't know how old she is, Emily, but
she's in her 40s.
Yeah, she has young kids. So she got married a little, not much, but a little bit later. So she accomplished everything she accomplished on her own.
Right.
She didn't have a trust fund sitting there waiting for her.
Right.
And, when you do something like that and then you look at somebody, but I don't think she should be so hard on Jenn for having her head in the sand and not knowing her finances. There's a lot of women out there that are like that. We're not, but there's a lot of women out there that don't know family finances.
No, I agree. And listen, I think that Emily took accountability for that by apologizing. Yeah. I don't know if you happen to hear Jenn Pedranti was on Melissa Gorga's podcast.
I didn't listen to it yet, but I want to.
So it's good because, Melissa kind of is like diving into that whole subject. Like she finds it interesting because when Jenn tells Melissa her story, like they were both the same age when they got married. They were both young when they got married. They had kids right away. Melissa and Joe happened to work out. So she, in the beginning, she wasn't taking care of that stuff. And It really wasn't until they got on the show where she started to do she tried the singing, but then that's when she opened Envy. And that's when she really learned more about it because she wasn't the one doing it before.
That's what I was going to say. I would imagine that Melissa didn't really have much to do with the finances. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
And Joe was working and it was like, I'm sure he took care of all that stuff.
Exactly. So she could totally relate. She could relate to Jenn. And I thought it was a good conversation. So I definitely recommend that you listen to it.
Yeah, I'll definitely listen to it.
Yeah. And then what happens? Then Tamra and Sophia are going out to practice driving. And oh my God, like she talks about her daughter taking a gap year and she's totally supportive of that because of her anxiety. But then watching her drive with her, it was giving me anxiety, and I don't have anxiety.
I was like that when I drove with my kids. God, you're in the street. They're like, no, I'm actually not. And she wasn't, but I was the same way. So this is probably my least hated scene of Tamra when she was driving with her daughter because I could identify with her. And I like that she was understanding that her daughter wanted to take a gap year because I think you have to be understanding. Some kids are not ready to go to school right when they graduate high school, and that's okay.
And some kids don't have to go to school,
Exactly.
Like we talked about that even with the Manzos, only one of her kids went to college. The other two didn't want to go to college, and that's okay. Like you have to support your kids and let them live their lives. It's trial and error,
And figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yep, they will definitely figure it out. And then Katie's daughter, we talked about that. She wants to change her name.
I do wish that Katie would encourage her daughter more to repair her relationship with her father. I don't know what this guy did other than what was the story that when Katie's mom was ill, he wouldn't let his son see the grandmother,
Yes. Yes.
and then the daughters told him he was selfish, and they haven't spoken since.
I think there has to be more to that story.
There has to be.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if that guy really did that, that is douchey. I mean, that's the kid's grandmother and she's dying. So I get that, but I just feel like there's more to it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that there is more to it, but I think that she doesn't speak to him at all. She doesn't speak to him at all. So it's kind of hard for her to encourage her daughter to have a relationship with someone that she can't even speak to, and her minor son is living with him.
How do you co-parent? They must not be
don't-
co-parenting.
I don't think that they are. I don't think that
So
they
she
are.
has nothing to do with her son in Georgia, I guess.
It's hard to say by what they told us, you know?
Yeah.
But she does, you know, that is one of the things that Sophia and Kylie have in common is neither one of them has a relationship with their father.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, they're both the same age. They have a lot of similarities. They may be good friends for each other. They have a lot in common, you know? So I'm up for that. So the party theme we know is the Scottish, the Traitors. Then we see Vicky is going in the car with Shannon. And the entire time, Shannon is trying to talk to her, and she's taking work calls and text messages and emails.
It's like classic vintage Vicky.
It is classic Vicky. It really is.
Yeah. I was there for it.
Yeah.
I was there for it. I love classic vintage Vicky.
Then we find out Teddy's going to be the host, and she starts out the welcome to the housewives and Vicky, which was, according to her, Tamra's idea to say that.
Yes, she did say that. It was Tamra's idea.
I'm sure it was. I'm
sure
sure it was
too.
Yep. So then they have the questionnaires to fill out, you know, and they're kind of shady questions so that the host can decide who the traitor is going to be. Then Heather pulls Katie aside and she invites her to the event that she's having in Sonoma, which I thought was good, like, because they really haven't spoken since the whole golf outing thing.
Yeah.
And she didn't really want to address the situation, which is fine. Like, I think that it's nothing that needs to keep being addressed. I think I said this last time. I don't want to hear about the damn paparazzi anymore.
Me neither.
Let's just move.
I'm good.
Let's just move forward. Invite her to the next event. Be cordial to her. Have fun with her. Laugh with her if you want. That's it. Move forward.
Katie is so shady in her confessionals about Heather, though. It's actually making me like Heather more. And you know,
really?
Yes.
Now this is a surprise.
Like, if this is what Bravo does, bravo, because I was not a Heather fan, and Katie is making me a Heather fan. She's so shady in her confessionals about her.
She really is. She definitely is. And then Heather lets Gina know that she talked to Katie and that they're moving forward so that Gina can kind of have that little bit of weight lifted off her shoulder because she feels responsible for all that.
Yeah.
Then we see Emily tells Jenn that that's when she does her apology, that, you know, ever since they, you know, had that argument at Gina's dinner, she really did some soul searching.
Yes, I thought that was the right thing by Emily.
Yeah. I also thought it was nice that Jenn said to Emily, like, I look up to you because you are such, like, you know, boss bitch, you know, like you do have your shit together and you are in charge. And then Emily's like in her confessional, she's like, oh my God, now I feel even worse. Like, here she is looking up to me.
And, you know, even more than, like, you know, getting herself together, like with a career and all that stuff with Emily, you know, her first season, Shane came off like a douche. Huge.
He sure did. He did.
Douche.
Yep.
And, you know, that could have went one of two ways, but she and he, you know, did the work and came out the other side. And now, like, you know, everybody loves them.
Yeah. And I think it was that not so much that he was a douche. We didn't realize their dynamic.
Exactly.
We didn't realize that. So if you just see that snippet, you're like, oh.
Right. Exactly. Just, you know, listen. And the first thing was that
when they came in the house and they woke up the kids,
Gina was drunk in the house and he yelled at, listen, my husband would have done the same thing. Eric would do the same thing. Like, you're causing a scene. You're waking my kids up. It's time for you to go. Get out.
And the kids were little then. Like, they were young.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know.
No, I agree with you. I don't think he did anything wrong, but he did come off like.
Yeah. Yeah, but not anymore. I mean,
No. No, we
they
love him.
really turned that around. Yeah, for sure.
Then Shannon is over talking to Tamra and telling her about how she had the breathalyzer installed. And then we get Vicky, Tamra, and Shannon are all together talking. And that's when I still don't know what they're referring to, but that's when Tamra tells Shannon that they want you to clear John's name.
Yeah, like, what does that mean? Clear his name?
I don't know. I don't know we still don't know what that means.
I mean, I guess because things that have come out, like remember the one season they were talking about him being on the golf course with his father at some private club and got kicked out because he was too drunk. Like a couple of things have come out about him over the course of the show, but he can't blame Shannon for that.
Listen, how is she going to clear his name? What is she going to do to clear his name for that? Because she specifically said, I'm not going to lie for him.
Right, right.
And really the way stuff like that works, when crap like that comes out, you're not, once it's dead. Don't bring it back up again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like that's the cardinal rule of PR.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like once they've stopped talking about it, don't ever talk about it again.
Right.
Let alone ask for an apology or let's make this right. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like there's got to be something that they're not telling us because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, and somebody needs to tell Shannon that there's videos out there that they're threatening to show. Somebody needs to tell her.
Yeah, I agree. And they all are
They're
talking
about it.
They're like, well, she needs to know, but like, we don't want to upset her. But yeah, but you're going to have to upset her. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like, I mean, I don't know when she does find out. I certainly hope it is not from Alexis, but I hope somebody tells her off camera because that's what a real friend would do. And honestly, I think if anybody at this point should be doing it, it should be Gina.
Or Vicky.
I don't know if Vicky knows. Vicky wasn't a part of that conversation.
I was just trying to think that as
Vicky
we were
doesn't
talking,
know.
if Vicky was there.
Vicky would tell her. I think Vicky would tell her.
I think Vicky would too.
Vicky doesn't know because that's when Tamra and Shannon and Vicky were talking, that they were all talking about it when they were talking about the trace.
Right.
They were talking about.
So she wasn't part of that conversation.
She doesn't know. Vicky would definitely tell them. So out of the ones that are left, I think, especially because Gina has so much compassion for Shannon and has been in the situation, I think that Gina should be really the one who tells her. Like I said, even if it's, and I don't feel like Gina does things for the camera. I don't think like Tamra does. I don't think Gina does things for the camera.
No,
I think
especially not in this situation because Gina's been through something similar. Gina's been through the DUI, not only the DUI, but then also having to talk about that situation with her ex-husband on the reunion where he got physical with her.
Right.
Like, she's been through shit on this show, whether it was on camera or off camera. But
right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think she should be the one and hopefully will.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was interesting, though, that when they were when Vicky and Shannon and Tamra were talking, like they were getting along. They were really getting along. There was banter back and forth. Tamra tells Shannon that there's no replacement for, actually, Vicky says it. There's no replacement for the Tres Amigas. And then the three of them hug.
Yeah.
Like, they were getting along. I feel like something drastic must have happened since then because now they don't speak at all. And Vicky and Shannon have both said publicly that they will never be friends with her again. Both of them.
I think that Tamra says and does what she needs to do in the moment, depending on who's around her. And I really hope it doesn't have anything to do with the lawsuit that John Jansen filed against Shannon. I really hope Tamra didn't get involved in that.
I hope so
after
too.
being sued by Jim Bellino, shame on her if she did.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I think Tamra's a shit friend. I don't think Tamra is a friend to anyone.
No.
And when she says, what'd she say? I'm a truth teller?
Yeah. Bullshit.
No, bullshit.
No, she's not a truth teller.
Yeah, you're not a truth teller.
No.
You're a pot stirrer. You're a bad friend. You're not a friend. You're just nobody's friend. Eddie better sleep with one eye open.
And that's the other thing that we see going forward too, when they showed like coming up this season where they show Eddie talking to Ryan.
Yeah.
And Eddie's like, don't even talk to me, like dismisses him completely.
Yeah.
Like they were friends.
Yeah. I think when I see Jenn, when we see Jenn say to Tamra, like, you better shut up if you're going to start talking about that. Because when she brings up the FBI thing, do you see her? You see her put her FBI hat on?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're on a show and you're getting paid to do a job. But when it comes to people's livelihood and businesses, I mean, me, the explanation, if Jen's telling the truth, and hopefully she is, the explanation she gave about Ryan doesn't seem so terrible, right?
Right, right.
And it does seem that Tamra's trying to make it into something it's not, or I don't believe for a second that Tamra even understands what was going on.
Well, there's that. Absolutely.
She's not smart enough. She's just not.
There's that. And, that's the other thing that kind of Jenn talks about with Melissa on the podcast is about her relationship with Tamra. And, Melissa's like, I don't want you to give anything away, but, I think it was really good that you could forgive her from what happened last season, how she came for you. And Jenn was saying that, like, it's not even so much as that, like, we were really friends. Like, we would go out together. Eddie and Ryan would, they all went out as couples together. And if she
Yeah.
had some feeling or she felt some kind of way about Ryan, why was it never brought up until she got on camera?
Right.
And, listen, I think Jenn has given her more than many opportunities to be a good friend and something, I don't get why Eddie follows her so blindly.
I don't either. I mean, he's younger than her, right?
A little bit, not that much.
Not that much. She was on the show when they met. Like, I'm not trying to say he's with her for the money, but I don't know. Opportunity. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, I think he was working for a law firm when she met him, and I think he was like a file clerk. Not that there's anything wrong with this. I'm just saying he's not an attorney. He was like a file clerk, which is a very good job,
right,
in a big firm for sure. But I don't know. Maybe opportunities, money, but he does follow her blindly.
Yeah.
He lets her, and she has said it, like, he lets me be me. Where Simon, obviously Simon had some control issues, but I would imagine if you're married to somebody like Tamra, somebody has to be in control. I couldn't do it.
No, I'm curious to see how this all ends, though. I don't know. I don't like Tamra. I haven't liked her in a long time. I did like her for the short amount of time I was listening to her. Skip over almost every one of her podcasts now. I don't listen to them unless somebody's on there that I want to hear.
Yes,
but
me too.
I don't want to hear her. I just don't want to hear her.
I read where I haven't listened to Teddy recap OC because I'm not a huge Alexia fan, and that's who she was doing it with.
I won't listen to that either because I can't stand her either.
Well, now she's doing it with Erica Jane, and I read that Alexia, and the person who wrote this article on social media or did the post, said, I'm not an Alexia fan. However, listening to her recap OC with Teddy, I became more of a fan because she would call Tamra out on her bad behavior where Teddy never will. Alexia is not doing the recaps anymore. Now they got Erica Jane doing them. So this woman was basically saying, like, I think that Alexia was doing what we all wanted her to do and call Tamra out for her bad behavior, and Teddy put a stop to it and gotten out, and now has Erica Jane doing it with her. But again, I haven't listened to see if Erica calls Tamra out. I mean, anybody who recaps this show has to call Tamra out for her bad behavior. She's awful. I really hope they don't bring her back next season. I don't know if you've noticed, but Heather, Jenn, Shannon, Gina, Emily, they're all getting together now, like current day.
Right.
Posting it on social media. They're all going out to lunch. They're all rallying around each other.
Did you mention Katie? Did you mention Katie in there?
No.
No Katie.
It's been Shannon, Heather, Jenn, Emily, and Gina. Not
like
all
those
together, but like
right.
Shannon will be out with Heather and Jenn, and then she'll be with Emily and Gina, and
right.
Jenn will be with this one, and no Katie, no Tamra.
Interesting.
I would like, it's the same. Oh, I don't want to bring up Teresa, but I know I always do. It's so frustrating. But it's like the same thing with Jersey. Like, take Teresa and Jenn out and let's just watch the rest of them have a good time.
Right.
Take Tamra out of this Take the toxicity away and let's just watch the rest of them have a good time. I'll happily listen to Fancy Pants talk about all of her real estate and how much she's worth and the distance between her house and Drake's.
You know, the funny thing is I just watched the most recent $1 million listing. LA, did you watch it?
I sure did.
Where she actually bought the house and
Next to Drake's.
yeah, got it for 16.1 million when it was
Down
listed
from,
for
like,
20. It was listed for 20, but it was originally in the 40s.
Exactly.
Like that is a deal.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. I enjoy watching her on there because I see, again, perfect example, $1 million listing. They're down to 3 agents now. Josh Altman, Josh Flagg, and Tracy. They all get along.
Mm-hmm.
There's no drama.
Right.
And it's very enjoyable to watch.
Right.
I hated when Frederick was on. That was the worst thing they did, was bring him from New York to LA.
Yes.
I don't think those 2 brothers were dramatic or anything like that.
No, they weren't, but yeah.
This is a good dynamic. It's the 3 of them. They get along. It's enjoyable to watch. Like, please, can we try this with Housewives again? Get rid of Tamra. Get rid of Teresa. Get rid of the toxicity. And let's just watch these people have a good time.
Agree. And I agree. That's a perfect example. I
Yeah.
mean, to watch Josh Flagg walk in Tracy's house and get in her bed. Just
That was amazing.
it. I loved it. I seriously
And when they
loved it.
were co-listing that, well, he was going to France, so she had to take care of his listing. And she was like, I'm up and down the stairs. He's like, sit down. Why are you working so hard? Like, he's like, I could have 14 people here in an hour and one of them's going to buy this house.
Right.
Like,
I
so
love-
good.
Yeah, I love the relationship between the 3 of them.
Mhm.
And I like it with Heather. And the fact that, like you said, Josh Flagg was off in France, which we find out he's with Candy Spelling for Fashion Week. And
How about that?
And he buys that Hermes bag. And Tracy's like, I got to be doing this next time.
Yes. Like, and
that's
I love
just-
Josh Altman's wife.
Yes.
Her kids are so cute. They are like this, almost the same ages as my office manager's kids. And I just love that. Like, I always think of them when I'm watching the show. They're just so cute.
Yeah. Yeah. She's got her hands full.
Right. And you know me, I'm always like, they're doing that for a storyline. But
Yeah.
with her, like, this is real life. This is her real life, Heather Altman. Like, how do you, I mean, I only worked 3 days a week when my kids were that age.
Yeah.
You know, Eric was commuting and, you know, gone a good portion of the day. But I only worked 3 days a week. And it was difficult getting my kids never went to, well, over the summer, they would go to the same babysitter's house. But like by the time Joe was going to the babysitter's house, Tess was in pre-K. So there were 2 separate drop-offs in the morning, 2 separate pickups in the afternoon after I worked all day. I come home, I got to cook dinner. Like, I can't imagine being her where, not that I didn't have a career, I had a career, but real estate is a 24-hour-a-day job.
Yeah. No, I
And
agree.
building another office an hour away, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It really is a lot. I mean, I might take my hat off to her because she's killing it.
Absolutely.
She's killing it. I mean, I feel bad for her too, because you can see in her confessionals, it's killing her.
Yeah.
It's killing her. Like, she needs to just slow down or she's going to get sick. She's just going to
Yeah.
get sick. Like, that's what we do as women, though. We just keep on going. We keep on going until God says to us, you know what? You're going to slow down.
Yeah, right. In any way, shape, or form it comes.
Yep.
And normally it's physical and you have no choice but to slow down.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but that's just what happens when we do this.
Yes. Girls rule the world.
That's it. I mean, I have nothing really else to talk about. I have 0 to say about the stupid traitor game, and it was dumb.
That was dumb. And man, are they getting heat on social media for bringing Teddy on. Like, people cannot stand Teddy. But look how it was a good episode because there was no Alexis.
Mm-hmm.
She's the Jen Aiden of the OC.
Yeah, that's true. You always have to bring it back to Jersey. I love how you do that.
It's like a fixation I have. I gotta stop.
Gee, I wonder who the Teresa is of the OC.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing they don't get along, in real life. I wonder how the Party Like a Housewife went with Danielle, Rachel, and Melissa. We didn't get to go to that.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I saw some videos. It looked good. I feel bad for Rachel. She lost her grandmother.
Oh my God, that's right. Her
Yes.
Nana, who we saw
Yes.
on the show.
Yeah, we send our condolences
Oh,
to her
absolutely.
and her family
Oh,
during
I
this
got the
difficult time.
chills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because we love Rachel Fuda and her family.
we do. We do. And her Nana seemed very sweet.
Yes, yes. I hope they did well with their party like a
Me
housewife.
too.
I
Me
do.
too.
So until next time, thank you for watching and listening to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
Bye.
Bye.